Welcome, 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 welcome. So today, just to let the people know, we have a slight technical issue here. I've got these
What's new,
headphones
Mike?
jammed right in my ear and I can still barely hear Linda. In fact, all I can hear is my own voice going back into my head, which is not necessarily a good thing. But there we are. Linda, please speak so I can see if I
Hello.
can hear you.
Good morning and evening or good afternoon. As I was just saying to Mike offline, he said do a mic test. So obviously I was doing mic test, Elizabeth test, Elizabeth test. Mike's wife's name is Elizabeth, okay? So I try and be funny sometimes, guys. Okay. Can you hear me, Mike?
Kind of, kind of,
Kind of.
but we'll get through
Better
it.
than no. Well, some
But
people would actually, some people, Mike, would actually say it's a God-given thing if you can't hear me talk. Okay?
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that. But I tell you
No,
what,
it's all good. It's
I've got
all good.
a question for all the people
Mm-hmm.
out there who are intuitive, psychic, mediums. I do remote viewing, as people may or may not know. And in the last 2 weeks, I've described myself as going from hero to zero with remote viewing. I've gone from, which I don't mind saying, some amazing remote views to the most absurd, amateur, completely crap remote views. So, of course, being the person I am, I've got to find out why, because you just don't go from being good to being crap without any reason. And
I'm
so
not.
I go to this website where there's this fabulous remote viewer called Daz Smith, and he put a poll in saying, since the conflict, have any people who have been remote viewing found that their remote view has been fuzzy, noisy, and got worse? And the other two questions were
Non-existent.
no,
Yeah.
it hasn't, and the last one was maybe. And I
Mm-hmm.
went and looked into this, and you know what? This exercise, we should call it, out there, not too far from where I live, to be quite honest, it's not a million miles away,
Mm.
has created so much noise in the universe, and it has had difficulty with a lot of people in connecting with spirit. It hasn't damaged
Mm-hmm.
my connection with spirit, but the remote viewing side of looking at energy at the moment is out the window. So
Mm.
I wonder what anyone thinks about that. Have you noticed any
Well,
difference?
yes, I have. And I was definitely not laughing at you, Mike. I was laughing with you because I had a friend here on the weekend and we were discussing remote viewing
Uh-huh.
and I tried it and voila, it didn't work.
Yeah.
Mind you, I was trying to go to a secret place where I probably should not have really wanted to go, but I went there anyway
Mm-hmm.
and it was shut down. My viewing capacity was
Yeah.
shut down.
Yeah.
So I think what is happening to you is happening to a lot of
Yeah.
people, whereby they are deliberately shutting us down so we don't find out the truth, Mike.
Bit late
You
for
know,
that.
we've been living in this now for 2 years and people are learning new things every day, whether they are truths, lies, or dares.
Yeah.
I'll just try and make a joke of it. But what is happening is the ones who have this agenda, they must protect what their agenda is
Yeah.
at all costs. You know, we went for about a week here where we didn't even hear about COV on the news at all. And now today, what luck, thousands of 5-year-olds are now getting it because they need to pressure us into that fear, into that lower vibration where people can't use their natural innate abilities.
Yeah.
I posted about this 2 years ago, and I actually made a post which was, funny thing, wouldn't it be funny if this whole thing about isolation and segregation was all about to keep us separated so we couldn't use our innate psychic abilities? Bingo.
Yeah.
It's all coming out now.
Yeah.
That, well, mate, basically with me, I've had to shut off the media totally over the last few days, look after my own health, look after my own mental health, because there is so much sadness coming out at this point. So many people are contacting me saying, this person just died. This person is now in hospital. 3 weeks ago they were fine, but then they had this, and now they're in hospital. Are they going to be all right? And it's like they're pressuring me to say, yes, they're going to be okay. It breaks my heart when she tells me the truth and it's not what people want to hear. I get extremely upset, about it. I cry virtually every day over it. But at the end of the day, we just must believe that, what came out with that pH ISA stuff the other week, only 50% of the people who had this actually got it. The other people got salt water. So I've got to hope and believe that it hurts, Mike. It really does. 50% who got the real deal, they're all the ones now with having all the effects and all the other health issues. And I know that they did this deliberately because they needed people to be healthy to say, oh, I had it and I'm fine. They needed that. And it's distressing. There's a lot of people now with cognitive dissonance, which means that your brain tries to attack the new information when you learn that something was a lie because it believes it. Cognitive dissonance is what it's called. And, there's so many people out there now who are angry. I can't tell you how much DV has risen in Australia. Every day on the news we're hearing of someone killing somebody or suiciding, murder-suicide of things. So, guys, please know, if you do struggle mentally, please go and talk to someone about it.
Sure, absolutely.
Don't let it get to this awful stage where you end up on the news. Please don't. I love everybody on the planet, regardless of who they are and what they've done. Someone asked me once if I loved Hitler. Of course I loved Hitler. He had a wife, Ava Braun. She obviously saw something good in him too. Not everybody is pure evil. Some people...
I think very few people are born evil. Most likely people become evil, develop in that pattern.
Yes.
And, it's a very tender subject. But before he went absolutely batshit crazy, Hitler did a lot of good things for the German people.
Yeah,
and
that's
then,
right.
Then he went off the rails. But yeah, it's difficult, and even with some of these people playing out the role today, started off with good intentions, and somewhere along the line, either they attracted the wrong energy and it's overtaken them, or they just decided, hey, I can have a lot of power here if I do this, and that
absolutely
they become power drunk. There's a whole diverse, really realm of reasons for why people do things. There's no one simple solution, and the channeled message that I got, and I'm putting it down on paper, it should be ready for next week, is with this situation with my neighbour's neighbour, because Slovakia's next door to me and that other place is next door to them. It's not far away, but the information is, and I understand it, do not take sides. Once you take sides, you are bringing yourself down to that level of what is happening
Absolutely.
there. It's a low frequency.
Absolutely.
So what we should be doing is not taking sides, but getting off our backsides and doing something to help raise the frequency. Once we raise the frequency, what's going on,
Yeah.
there's no support, and it falls away. So I would encourage everyone to refrain from talking about this situation like they know what's going on, because we don't. We haven't got a clue
No.
what's going on, why it's
Yeah.
happening, the role it's playing in this world scenario associated with everything else that's going on. So actually, it's not our business to know, but it's our duty to help keep the frequency high and
Yeah.
resolve this with thought and action.
Well,
That's the
on
information I
that,
was given.
yeah, on that same sort of line, people who are ringing me about it, I say to them, don't concentrate on things that you have no control over.
Yeah,
Concentrate your energy on what you have the ability to create on your own. We all have that innate ability to spread love, joy, happiness. So spread it to your neighbors, spread it to your family, spread it to your co-workers, spread it to your family that you live with and your animals. Spread it out there, because then it ripples. I did that video the other day about raising your vibration. Man, the feedback I'm getting, because I started it so low. By the end of it, I was so wired. And it is lovely when I get emails from people and they say, wow, I've just watched your video and now I'm wired too.
yeah,
So imagine the energy that you want to put into other people, create it within your own heart space, and then it emits out of us and it goes to everybody on the planet. Only do and only concentrate and only try to control what we have the capacity to do.
yeah,
These people in other countries, these people in creating drugs, these people in the elitists and the organizations around the world, we personally do not have any change capacity to alter their reality.
no,
So we create our own reality of what we want to be, and it certainly will reach out and ripple into them.
yeah,
Because high vibrations will always win.
yeah.
So that's what we've got to do,
And
is to raise up our vibration.
if we collectively focus on a single thought, on the outcome that we desire, seeing that outcome already happening, peace, abundance, joy, families playing,
Yeah,
going to the park, abundance, work, homes, plenty
Yeah.
of food, see all that in the supermarkets. That's where the point of attention would be. And we
that's
know
right.
science tells us this. This is the manifestation process.
How many times do people say, make your vision board?
Yeah,
Get yourself a pen and paper and write down things that you want in your future,
yeah,
like a bucket list.
Yeah.
Make yourself that list, that vision. So if you write on here, good house, get a picture of the house that you want and put it on there. If you want children,
Yeah.
put on photos of babies.
yeah,
If you want new clothes, then get photos of clothes or draw pictures of what clothes you want,
Yeah.
whether it's shoes, pants, shirts, hats, ties, gloves. You make this vision board, because then we're creating it in that synaptic network of our brain. And when our consciousness gets involved into that scientific formulation, magic does happen.
Yeah.
We've got to remember, magic is only science that is not yet divulged.
Yeah.
So create that magic, and we can, And also the other thing I love saying is the I ams.
Yeah.
I am great.
Yeah.
I am fit. I am healthy.
Yeah.
I am strong. I am happy.
Yeah.
The more we say those I ams,
Yeah.
Get out a piece of paper and all you do is you write, I am.
Yeah.
I am.
I am perfect with my imperfections.
You put it on the back of your door, you put it on your fridge, put one of your post-it notes in the car, so as you're driving you see I am ...
Yeah.
So then you have to fill in the blanks.
Yeah.
What am I today?
Yeah.
Am I a quivering wreck of depression, or am I happy? Am I strong? Am I fit?
Yeah.
Am I healthy? So
And
we all have that.
it's really important. Of all the years I've been doing talks on the power of words and studying it, to actually speak it out verbally has so much more power than just
Oh yeah.
speaking it in your mind. So please, whatever you want to do,
Yep.
nobody thinks you're mad anymore because they think you're on your phone and you've got a headphone in there. So just speak it out loud, exactly what you want. That vibration of the spoken word is so much more powerful, and even more powerful is if you was to sing it, and even more powerful is if you was to say it in a prayerful way, or a mantra, something like this. You'll be surprised.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Just don't make me sing, Mike. Please don't push me to sing. I'm not going to sing it. I am
with Bon
happy,
Jovi,
I am
nonetheless.
free.
But anyway,
Yeah, because
that's
that's what gets your vibrations up.
that's another
Singing,
story. We
dancing,
better get
and
on
your
with the news.
affidavits. Yeah, we got to get on to the news, Dan, and see what Caterina has to say for us tonight.
Okie doke, let's roll this. I'll see you on the
Yep.
other side of this one. Here we go.
Hello, my curious friends. My name is Caterina Campagna, and I'm here to bring you the Open Door News segment. You know, the news that makes you go, ah! Brr. Or simply, what the? I can't believe, no, why? What the? Why is no one else talking about this? Well, we are, and let's start with some celebrities getting it on with people that other people not only have never heard of, but can't even see. That's right. I'm talking about celebrities that have had ghostly encounters in the boudoir. Let's start off with Bobby Brown in 2016. He reported that he was sleeping in his bed, totally drug free, and all of a sudden, the apparition of a white woman was mounting him, and they had intercourse. Now, of course, this was in his new home in Georgia, and he openly reported it to everyone. So there's one instance, and guess what? There's more. Lucy Liu, the actress, was taking a nap on her couch when all of a sudden she felt someone on top of her, and she said it was pleasurable. The same goes for Ukrainian-born actress Natasha Balsik, who has had an encounter like this not only once, but twice. Then there is also Kesha, who reported it to Ryan Seacrest. She is open to having another experience with a ghostly bedmate, since she also found it pleasurable. Now it's up to you to decide, did this really happen, or was it a figment of their imagination? One actress who found it pleasing was Coco Austin, Ice-T's wife. She tried to shush the entity away, that she also heard breathing by her ear when she felt it approach her inappropriately while napping on a couch. From the bedroom to an air show put on by UFOs. Say what? Yeah, you heard me, UFOs. And it's not Roswell, it's 1969's Berkshire UFO sightings, which people are still debating to this day. And not only were there witnesses who called into radio shows, but there were also children all of a sudden the next day drawing UFOs in their notebooks at school. So this apparently took mass appeal on. So there is one person who is still battling to have this incident recognized because it is very personal to him. His name is Thomas Reed. It is more so personal to him than others, perhaps, because he was actually in the UFO, according to his accounts. He was driving down the road with his mother, grandmother, and brother in the car, going to a restaurant, and all of a sudden these lights started peeking through the trees. And as they drove down further, he claims that the car was actually put into the hallway of this alien craft. Now, in there, he saw lights not replicated or possible in 1969, bowed out walls, and all this other phenomena which couldn't be explained in 1969. Sin City, just off the strip, you have the chance to see the spirit of the flamboyant pianist who passed in 1987, tragically to AIDS. Now, he was the owner of Carlucci's Tivoli Gardens, and it is there that patrons have seen his spirit in the window, felt his presence, and also there's bottles that just turn over mysteriously by themselves, tip over mysteriously by themselves, as well as a bathroom door in the ladies' room that just unlocks and locks of its own accord. And that isn't the only thing. There have been power surges, and one time there was a blackout and the lights just refused to come back on. Then suddenly someone remembered that it was Mr. Liberace's birthday, and once they wished him a happy birthday, ta-da! The lights magically restored themselves. Speaking of Vegas, let's visit the apparition of one of the men who helped build it into what it is today, Mr. Bugsy Siegel, a mob-tied leader who was responsible for building the Hilton Flamingo, which opened in 1946. Now, sadly, only a year later, on June 20th, Mr. Bugsy Siegel was killed at his girlfriend's home in Beverly Hills. Now, it is said that he was sitting in the couch area and 2 shots came through the window and they got him right in the head. Now, to this day, visitors of the home have seen Bugsy's ghost frantically running through the living room and then just disappearing into the walls as quick as he came. He has also been seen at the Flamingo Hotel in Vegas, predominantly in the room, the presidential suite, which was his home for a while, and also in the Rose Garden and in the wedding chapel. That's all for this week, my spooktacular friends. Remember, stay beautiful, stay brave, stay free, and above all, stay curious.
Well. No doubt the girls were safe in the toilets with Liberace. And residual energy. What do you reckon? Lynda?
Well, it could be.
Bugsy
It could be
Siegel,
either.
residual energy. It continues all the time, or
Yeah.
is he just still completely lost? Could be both.
Well, could be either or.
Yeah.
You know, unless somebody actually goes there and he talks to them or makes eye contact or does something that he doesn't usually do, you know, how do we know?
Yeah.
You know, so until you get that evidence, it's hard to decipher which way it is.
Yeah.
You know, but I would suggest that his energy is still there.
Yeah.
Whether it's intelligent or residual, that's another thing up for debate, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Did you like the way Caterina said that with almost venomous joy? Got him right in the head.
Yeah, I know. I was more concerned with her costume changes. You know?
Yeah.
I think, she changes fast.
It's a question of time. You know, she's busy, Caterina, with this script, doing this other stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm just so grateful that she has the time to
Oh, of course.
get done what she gets done. So
it reminds me of what we can do in heaven, Mike. You know, I'll be that honest. When I saw her with her hair up towards the end, I thought, damn, that's so much like in heaven. We just think of our hair differently, and instantly it's totally different hairstyle.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know, so I'm glad that she sort of did that.
We got a good
You know,
heaven story coming up later.
yes, we do. But one thing that I do like about what she's brought up tonight is that ghosts can move around.
Yeah.
You know, I had Shelley in my house for 3 days. She then left and went somewhere else. You know, I've now got the little girl ghost in my house. She came from somebody else's house. So ghosts can move around. You know, it's not like they're just held, like in Beetlejuice, where they're held to a location. You know, sometimes that can happen, but most times ghosts can actually leave their location and go somewhere else as well. You know, it's all what to do with what they're connected to. So, you know,
sorry, is Beetlejuice the movie where you say it 3 times? Have you said it 3 times?
Yeah, now we've said it twice. No, don't say him again, because I don't want someone like that in my house. Thank you. Little cheeky buggers aren't welcome in my house because they're very, very hard to get rid of. You know, so I don't test fate at all, Mike. You know,
I haven't seen my ghost cat for a few days now. Typical cat, just comes and goes like it owns the place. But anyway, let's start our story. We've seen this one before back in the day.
Yes.
Quite an interesting one. I've got a little view on this, which I know you'll be able to clarify. But let's have a look at this.
Let's have a look at
the
it.
ghost church. Here we go. And there's also the photo bomber, the ghost photo bomber as well.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at them.
This short yet chilling clip sent to us on Facebook by Carlisle supposedly shows a ghost on camera. It was filmed in 2008 at a funeral service for a prostitute held in the town of Santa Cruz, Jamaica. Despite being homeless, the woman was well loved by everyone in the town and was known for her happy and jovial personality. It was said that the woman would often run in front of people to make them laugh, just like the ghostly figure seen in this video. If you slow the video down, you can see that the figure looks dark and shadow-like. It has long arms and thin, wispy fingers. Its face seems to have no discernible features at all. Could the figure actually be the ghost of the homeless woman caught on camera at her own funeral? If so, was this her way of letting people know that she was still around? Whatever the case may be, it's certainly a very creepy video, but does it really show proof of the afterlife? This photo, sent to us by Andrew on Facebook, appears to show a ghostly figure with a gaunt skeletal face, photobombing a group of children. Present in the photo is Andrew's partner David, who, after suffering an illness, became quite nostalgic and began looking through old photos from his childhood. It was taken on a school trip in the early 90s outside an air raid shelter at a popular war museum in northern England. The eerie figure in the photo went undetected for years until Andrew used an app to enhance the light. David insists that he was standing at the very back of the group and that there was no other member unaccounted for. To this day, the photo freaks David out so much that he won't even look at it. Could it be possible that this photo actually shows the ghost of someone who died at this very air raid shelter? Let us know who or what you think the mysterious figure might be in the comments section below.
What do you think, Lynda? I'll tell you something.
Go first.
The first one, the ghost, you know, we see her perhaps not fully developed just yet as a spirit with the long wispy hands. And so I done a little look, and if I've got it here, maybe this is it. No, that's not it. Bloody hell, I can't find it now. Okay, it's the Shadow Man. Looks very similar to this. So, question, is the Shadow Man someone that's not fully developed? Is the Shadow Man an energy in his or her own right? Or what's the story there? what's your view on it? I think anything's possible. I don't think there's no you're either shadow man or an undeveloped entity. I think in the spirit world anything goes. But that's just my view. What do you think of all this, Lynda?
Well, first off, I've seen a lot of ghosts over the years. A lot of ghosts. And not all of them come through as a full-bodied apparition.
Right.
It's actually a rarity where they can be sitting like you and me in front of each other, and I've got to ask, are you real or deceased? Okay? Because most times it's that energy trying to manifest.
Right.
So if they're putting that's why you see them with like elongated arms.
Mm-hmm.
Their fingers could be really long. They could have really long hair that's like wisping off into nothing. They could have really long legs because it's all to do with the energy that they're trying to create at that time to manifest.
Yeah.
So, I'm updating my ghosts and spirit book at the moment, and I go through the scientific and the psychology of how they actually come through. And ghosts, no ghost is the same. So, you could have one person who presents full body. They can come back tomorrow and be full body again, full body again, full body again. But the next ghost won't be able to do that exact same manifestation.
Right.
They're all different in their own right, like fingerprints on our own hands. We've all got fingers. They all look the same, but it's when you actually look at the fingerprints. So my suggestion with Shadow Man, I've never seen the Shadow Man, but I've seen shadow figures.
Yeah, likewise.
And most notoriously, I was at a friend's house one night and the cat was asleep on my bed, and it was the cat who sprung up looking at the doorway. So I've turned, because I was facing the cat this way, so I've turned over to look at the doorway, and there was a shadow in the doorway. It came across in front of the bed, and the cat was there with all its whiskers coming out like this, because I was looking, because the cat was here next to me, and it just went straight through the wall. Yeah. So the one thing with shadow man, whatever, there has never been a report of anyone getting hurt by the shadow man. No. There's never been a report of someone getting pushed over, their hair pulled out, scratches, kicked, thrown a car engine at them, that sort of stuff. Okay? So shadow men, to me, knowing that, because that's evidence that I've accumulated, any empirical evidence that's been collected, which is like one-on-one evidence, any empirical evidence that people have collected, none of them say they were hurt by it, but they got scared by it, obviously, because it would be scary to see that if you weren't used to it. Yeah. Me, I'd be running up to him, hello, what's your name? Yeah. Because I've just got no gumption at all with ghosts. I just walk straight up to them. But I'm a freak. Yeah. I'm a freaky girl. Anyway, so getting back to... Did I really just do that? Anyway, hello, we're all talking about raising our vibrations tonight, okay? You got to sing and dance. So getting back to the first one with the ghost, I wouldn't say it was the woman who was there for the funeral, but you got to look at the timing because it was her funeral and that's something that she used to do. Yeah. So it's a characteristic, but unless she actually said, hello, my name is, or, you could actually see her face, I'm still not 100% going to say that it was definitely her, okay, only because we don't have enough evidence to go by. But do I believe that it was real? Yes, I believe it was real. Yes, I believe that it was a partial apparition where they didn't, you couldn't actually see arms, legs, torso, facial hair, nose hair, teeth, etc., okay? Because teeth is important for the next one that we're going to talk about, okay? Because the ghost bomb one, the photo, you can see teeth. Yeah. when you look at that photo, it is so coming through as an apparition that you can see teeth.
Yeah.
So do I believe that one's real? Absolutely. You know, I've got a photo of a ghost and you can see his teeth in it.
Yeah.
So I thoroughly believe that both of those were real in my own belief, but as to the identity of who they were, that's up for debate at this point with me.
I mean, my thing with the second one, the photo bomber, is that he or she seems to have appeared partially decomposed.
That's right. Yes.
So I would question why. Deliberately to shock, or that's just how that person's energy is still after all this time?
I would say that's part of their energy coming through.
Yeah.
You know, it's like developing a photo.
Yeah.
Mike, think of developing a photo.
Yeah.
When you put if you're in the black room or the dark room, whatever you call it, when and you've got all your chemicals in the tray and you put the photo into the tray to develop it, it'll come up all smudgy and blurry until it actually takes. So that's sort of the same when ghosts are trying to come through as an apparition.
Yeah.
So, you can get this distortion where they've got like an elongated chin, or the arm will have the elongated fingers, etc.
Yeah.
So, I thoroughly
and
believe
I guess
that one was
if the photographer had kept click, 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 then the apparition or the ghost would have become more.
That's right. Yes. They would have had a more definitive
humanoid
progression, progression of that whoever it was appearing in the photo.
Yeah.
But why were they there? Obviously, they wanted to be in that photo. So thank you for turning up that day. That's what I'd be saying. Thank you so much for turning up that day. Thank you for being a part of who we were when we were there.
We recognise you.
Pity you didn't carve your name in the tree so we could tell who you were. That sort of thing.
Yeah,
but,
I think someone like that just wants to be acknowledged.
Well, look at the ghost that I've got.
Yeah.
Who was he?
Yeah.
I rang the cemetery and I said, how many people have you got in there that wore glasses? And she said, well, we won't know that information. And I said, well, how many males? Approximately 30 to 55 in the past 30 years. And she said, about 40,000. So good luck sorting out who that guy was that I captured that night with his glasses broken. So, unless they actually do come through and start talking, either as an EVP, electronic voice phenomenon, or they talk so vividly that you can actually hear it in your own ears.
Yeah.
Good luck, Good luck knowing who they are. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's move on to another naughty poltergeist messing about in someone's kitchen.
I love this one. I love this one.
Is we had one a few weeks ago where poltergeist, and that wasn't very nice, that one. That gave me a bad feeling. But this one just seems a bit mischievous, a completely different energy. It's just like a cat throwing things about. Completely different energy. If anyone watched the show a few weeks ago where we showed this poltergeist in the kitchen, turning on taps, slamming doors, really being aggressive, this feels to me that this is more of a cat type energy. I think it's a form of human, but it's more playful and feels less threatening. But see what you think. Give me your opinion after, Lynda. Let's run this and see what we got.
Yep.
What do you think, Lynda?
What do I think? You know how they say about people, they like the sound of their own voice?
Yeah,
I think this guy or girl, whoever it is, they like the sound of the boing
yeah,
when all the stuff hits the floor.
yeah,
Boing!
yeah,
Oh, I like that. Let's do that again. Boing!
yeah.
Another bowl
I
on the
tell you,
floor smashing.
that was a neat
What?
trick with the table, getting all that stuff off the table in one. Shoom. Yeah. I
It's
mean,
all
what
good.
did you feel, Lynda, and anyone else watching this? I didn't feel
Okay.
that that was particularly threatening, like that last one
No.
that we saw a few weeks ago. I felt this was really, like you say, a playful, belligerent,
Yeah.
probably a child.
Now, well, we've got to remember something here, Mike. Someone set up a camera.
Yeah,
So whoever did that obviously wanted it on film because the camera did not move, it did not go out of focus, and most of all, it didn't turn off.
no,
Because I've seen poltergeists where the first thing they attack is the camera.
yeah,
You know, it goes. It's like they're turning the focus, so the
yeah,
focus comes in and out. They're moving the camera, so it's like all over the shop. But they left that camera sitting there, unless it was a nanny cam on a teddy bear. But then again, the teddy bear didn't get thrown across the room with the plates,
no,
probably because the teddy bear doesn't go boing when it lands on the floor. Um, but there was one thing in there that I really did like. Because I looked to debunk these. Was it a fake? And there was one thing in there that really proved to me that it's not fake. And that was the orange coming out of the bowl.
yeah,
Because on the, let me just turn down my phone because I can, or is it just my reverb that I've got here? I think it is. When the bowl's on the side and it shoots up and then it falls down.
yeah,
You know, anyone could have a string attached to a plate where they just pull it so it just comes and they let it fall. But the fruit goes up and then across.
Let's have a quick look at that one again.
Create that.
Yeah,
Yeah, so, you know, anyone could stick a piece of wire around a door handle and just open it up. But that piece of fruit going across the room, man, I wish I was sitting there. I'd love it.
yeah.
You know,
Well,
I'd be sitting there with my feet up on the table having a coffee, just saying, what else have you got, guys? You know, because
Sally is
I'd
not
love
too happy
that.
about it, Lynda.
Hey?
Sally said, if that was my kitchen, I would take it as being very aggressive.
Yeah, hello, Sally. Yeah, well, see, that's the thing with me because I've seen a lot of ghosts over the years. So I'd be just intrigued to know what they can do.
Yeah.
You know, I'd be sitting there, encore, encore,
Yeah.
encore.
Yeah.
You know, what else can you do? Oh, gosh. Yeah, but, you know, I will tell you a little quick story, Mike. When I moved into this house, I'll just quickly just draw a little diagram. When I moved into this house, the kitchen is in like a C, right?
Yeah.
So my kitchen sink's on the top here. There's the kitchen sink, and I've got a window here, right?
Yeah.
Outside, because that's the outside, I've got a table outside with all my junk on it, right?
Right.
On that table was Tashi's easel. It's a big wooden easel, quite heavy. And underneath it was a bucket full of rocks. So the easel was under the bucket of rocks. So I'm washing up this day, and I had the curtains closed so I couldn't see out. And I heard this awful bang, bang. So I ran outside. The bucket of rocks was still on the table, but the easel was way over near my backyard. So I thought, wow, that's really cool. You know, thank you so much for doing that. I came inside, every cupboard door and the drawers were all open.
Huh.
And I'd only been gone for 20 seconds at the most. So all the cupboard doors were open and the drawers were pulled out. And I just thought, you got me outside so you could do that, you know? So they did not hurt me. There was no harm to me at all. So I just stood in my kitchen and I said, wow, I'm so impressed.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for showing me what you can do. And thank you so much for hurting me, you know? So
now bugger off.
Yeah. Well, I don't tell them to bugger off. You know, I sort of encourage them to do what they want, so then they feel welcome to be in my house, you know. I give them that respect. You know, obviously if they're nasty or they do things to me or my daughter or the cat, you know, or guests that come to my house, then yes, I would be telling them to bugger off, you know, which I have done in the past with certain entities that came here. But, you know, that's for another show when we talk about the D words, like Matt Damon's, you know, and archangels and stuff. But, you know, that poltergeist, oh, man, I wish I was there watching that. I'd be sitting there going, bravo, you know, like you're sitting in the audience watching their show. That's what I'd be doing, because they're obviously proud of what they can do, you know, and try and find out why, you know. Why do ghosts do that sort of stuff? Why is it only in the kitchen? You know, it might be them saying, hey, where's all my cupboards? You know, why don't you paint the cupboards? Why don't you, you know, where's all my nice crystal bowls I used to have? You've got all this yucky damn fine silver here now. I don't want that in my house, so it's getting thrown out of the cupboards. You know, so you don't know what is their intention of doing it unless you actually do communicate with them, unfortunately. But that was a great show. For that fruit to go flying out of that bowl, that was the one that got me. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that one.
Well, let's move on to our reverse speech. Last week, I put up on your Dr. Lynda Kramer Paranormal a excerpt of reverse speech of His Not So Royal Highness Prince Andrew, completely making a pig's ear of his defence with this Epstein business. And so, you know, we played some reverse speech. For those of you who don't know, this is different to backmasking, where people deliberately say words in a certain formula or certain tonation, and when you play it backwards, it says something completely different. You've heard of celebrities doing this, pop musicians doing it in their music. But reverse speech, you have no control over. And it's simply what your subconscious mind is really thinking. Lynda's a friend of David Oates, who formed this system, which is going strong now, still not anywhere near respected as any shape or form in any kind of legal aspect. Or,
can I just go there with David Oates?
with the mainstream. I beg to differ. I've got some views on it, which I'll say after. But Lynda, did you want to say something first before?
With regards to David Oates, he's a friend of mine on Facebook, and he actually told me at some point that he worked for a 3-letter agency where they were very interested in the works. So then one day, it was like the Men in Black came to his door and they took all his work. They took everything. So he virtually, you know, he's written a few books. He does his own, he's got his own Facebook. He's got his own YouTube and everything. So, you know, to me, he's very, very respected in the industry, you know. So I would love him to do me, you know. I'd love to give him some of my voices, you know, videos, and just say, hey, what's my true intention of what I do, you know. But, you know, it'd be interesting just to see what he came up with me. But, you know, as for Michael Curry that we're about to see, I trust this guy as well for his work. You know, I've researched him a little bit to see what other stuff that he's done, and he's up there that I would put up there with David Oates. You know, he's very, very respected, and he deserves that respect for what they do because of the criticism, the verbal attacks, and the scrutiny, the critique that they get for the industry. You know, so yeah, I'm really keen to know more about this.
Yeah.
You know, that's one of the things I really do like. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Yep. So let's go and have a look at him.
let's play this reverse speech one, and then we'll come back to it and see what everyone thinks.
Yeah.
Here we go.
And now, in the name of our loving, liberating, and life-giving God, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen. Never love me, never love me, never love me. We had a wonderful, she was really a remarkable Sunday school teacher who could tell Bible stories and hold second and third graders' attention. And I'll tell you one that I remember. I remember the day of Pentecost. In the old prayer book, it was Whit Sunday. I figured this out, or better yet, I didn't figure it out. Phillips Brooks figured this out for me. Phillips Brooks, a great bishop and preacher, probably one of the greatest preachers in the history of Christianity in America, and certainly in our church history. We were seeing. Cast out our sin. Cast out our selfishness. Cast out our self-centeredness. Cast out our egocentricity. Slenderness for short I say. Slenderness for short I say. Slenderness for short I say. Stay with me now. I want you to know I went to seminary. Pentecost becomes the extension of the incarnation. All right? I think I'm on solid theological ground there. That when that happens, a new world is coming into being, a new reality, because the Jesus who is born is the Jesus who said, "Blessed are the poor." It's no light. It's no light. It's no light. This is oh no Jesus and this way of love. The way of love is ecumenical and interfaith. It is not the province of anybody.
There we are. So, I'll just give you what I think. I think this is a very valid protocol. I do believe that our subconscious thoughts, our true thoughts, are expressed somewhere in the words. And I say this because of my knowledge and understanding of the power of words. They're not just words that simply used to express sentiment. They have a frequency. So I think it's very real. I would also say at the same time, some of the reverse speech things I've heard are a stretch. A bit of a stretch, and I think if you're not careful, you can find something
I lost you, Mike.
in anything, in any part of a speech that's played back reverse. But the ones that are absolutely clear, for me, are clearly defined as the real deal. That's where I stand on it. What about you, Lynda?
Well, I stand on the same side with you there, Mike. You know, I've seen David Oates's work, and even just a 10-minute speech can take 6 hours because you've got to not only just hear it in the front, then you've got to reverse it all, slow it all down, and find those little drops. You know, it's like looking for going through 30 hours of recordings to try and find an EVP. After a paranormal visit to a cemetery. So the hours that these people invest, you know, it's not something to just go into you've got to be wholeheartedly to go into it, because it's a very long and arduous job where 10 minutes of someone talking, it could turn into 3 hours and then you don't find anything.
Yeah.
You know? So, you know, a lot of reverse speech, you don't find anything, you know. So when David Oates says on Facebook, "Hey, I've just spent 6 hours in the booth," he's done 6 hours in the booth just to find one reverse speech.
Yeah.
And these guys would not be doing it if they didn't think that it was accurate. So that's their integrity. They're high integrity, these people who actually do that. So I trust this guy with what he was doing. Yeah. It's sort of, to me, it reminds me of when ghosts come through. Are we doing we are doing it tonight. Yeah, I was just thinking, are we doing the seance trumpet? Yes, we are. When ghosts speak, sometimes you've got to slow it down to hear what they say.
Yeah.
So it's a long, arduous job
It is.
to get it to the right speed, because even with EVPs, they're not always on the same speed as us.
Yeah.
They talk because they're coming through from a different dimension. It's not the same. It's like doing Mach 3 in a Mach 1 zone. You know, so you're going faster than what it is if you're in an airplane. If you know what I'm talking about, there, Mach 3, 3 times the speed of sound. So it's a very, very fascinating. It obviously needs more research and stuff put into it, but I think it's because of the man hours involved in finding just one, like an EVP, out of hours and hours of footage. That's why a lot of people do just get disheartened and just say, oh, well, you go do it and show me what you get.
Yeah.
I've got other things to do.
Well, I mean,
so,
I can vouch for everything you say, because I've got a bit of software. It's not the invention that he used, but anyone can download this free. It's called Audacity. I think it's audacity.org. And here you can click the button and it reverses the speech. You can slow it down, speed it up, stretch it, get rid of some of the high tones and the low tones. And believe me, it is arduous and thankless most of the time. But me having the curious mind that I have, I like to have a little go at it myself, just to see if it's plausible with the little bit of knowledge that I have. And I concluded that, as I say, with my knowledge on the power of words, with my knowledge on frequencies and pure tone and thought and consciousness, I can deduct that this is very real.
Yeah. You did yourself, didn't you, Mike?
Sorry?
You threw your own video in there, didn't you?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you did say audacity.org. I may go and I want to get this book finished first, though. Because because every day I get a distraction. Every day I get a distraction. So today I wanted to spend 4 hours on my book. I only spent 2. So tomorrow I've told myself 3 hours. 3 hours I've got to sit here and just do my book for, because I really want this out so I can start my next book. And then the next book, because I've got about 4 or 5 that I want to do. So at least thank God one's done. That's all I'm saying. Thank God one's done. So audacity.org, it'd be interesting, because I've got videos online that I've done on YouTube. So throw one in there and see what it comes up with in reverse speech. It may shock me, but I always only do it from the love of my heart and what she tells me to do, so it would be interesting just to see what I get in reverse speech. Yeah. Wow. Okay. All right, so where are we going to next?
Some more uplifting stuff. The Flight Angel. This is a beautiful story. Synchronicity, whatever you wish to call it, just divine intervention. I guess the name is not important here, but look, let's run it and see what everyone thinks.
This one reminded me of my own plane crash, because a lot of people don't know I survived a plane crash.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
Oh, yeah. We'll talk about it later.
Okay. All righty. Let's run it.
Okay.
See what happens.
Yep.
1 a.m., February 24th, 1989. 354 passengers and crew board United Airlines Flight 811 from Honolulu to New Zealand. Piloting the flight was 38-year veteran Captain David Cronin, who had only 2 flights left before retirement. He had nearly missed this one.
I considered calling in sick because I had a lot of sick time left. But there was something inside me that made me put on my uniform and pack my bags and go out that door, because I knew I had to go on that flight that day.
Flying in business class was attorney Bruce Lampert, a specialist in airline crash litigation. In spite of his daily work with crash victims, Bruce had no qualms about flying.
I felt very comfortable. I had an innate trust in the design, the engineering, manufacture of airplanes. I did not ever, prior to this incident, have any concerns about getting on a commercial air flight.
Sherry Peterson, a travel agent from Denver, Colorado, boarded the plane at the last moment. By the time Sherry reached her assigned seat in row 9, someone was already sitting there.
Excuse me.
We were nearing takeoff, so the flight attendant simply said, take a seat anywhere, so I moved back to row 13.
Perhaps not the luckiest number until today. The plane took off during a heavy thunderstorm, but soon climbed to 30,000 feet and clear skies. The passengers began to settle in for the all-night 9-hour flight.
I put that Walkman on, I took my shoes off. I remember putting a blanket over my legs and just leaning back and saying, well, at least now I'll get some sleep.
Sherry Peterson was also looking forward to a restful flight, but just as she fastened her seatbelt, she heard a voice.
A young man whispered in my ear, tighten your seatbelt, you're in for the ride of your life.
Where had this voice come from? What did it mean? Sherry didn't have to wait long to find out. She tightened her seatbelt and within seconds found herself facing death.
I closed my eyes and boom. It was like a paper bag popping.
We're losing 3.
The airplane literally flew up and to the left, came right out of my hands.
We had a bomber subject off the airplane. We're making a 180 and trying to get back to the airport.
And next thing I knew, I had been just yanked forward with a force you can't imagine.
Panels are blown down from the overhead. There's a whooshing of air.
A giant 10 by 40 foot section of the right forward cabin was blown away. In an instant, 9 business class passengers were swept to their deaths, including the man sitting in the seat to which Sherry had been originally assigned.
Everything that was around me was gone. The debris that was flying forward, people were bloodied, and it was just this utter chaos, and people were, gathering and grabbing things and grabbing each other.
The explosive decompression was absolutely, incredibly, unbelievably terrifying.
There was a flight attendant that had been pulled under the seat, and she was very contorted and bloodied and dazed, obviously, and she couldn't remove herself to even help anyone. I was holding on to her because I'm thinking, at what point do all these people go?
There was no place to go. There was nothing to say, nothing you could do. You were totally at the mercy of the laws of physics and the courage of 3 men who were fighting for their lives in the cockpit.
No jumbo jet had ever sustained this much damage and survived.
There is a lot of pressure just flying normally without any emergencies going on. But when you've lost people out of the airplane, you're concentrating on totally what you're doing. You're not thinking about anything else except to get the airplane back to Honolulu.
Anticipating a crash, passengers gripped their armrests in fear and waited. 40 minutes after the explosion, as emergency personnel hastily prepared for a crash landing, Captain Cronin spotted land.
All 8 valves are open, Captain.
All right. Okay, we're doing 220 knots now.
Once we saw land, I knew that we had a really good chance of getting it back. Maybe not on the runway, but at least in the vicinity of the runway.
Okay, I see the airport out there, straight ahead.
As the crippled airplane approached the airport, Sherry said a final prayer. She was pleading for a miracle.
You're sitting alone with your thoughts and you start making deals with God. I mean, if we get out of this, things are going to change. I will change. I know what I've done wrong.
Her prayer was about to be answered. The landing was a miracle in itself.
It was the best and smoothest landing I've made probably in my career. We didn't even know we were on the runway. It was that smooth.
Stunned passengers left the plane the moment it came to a stop. Miraculously, only 27 people were treated for injuries, none of which were life-threatening, although most of them could not believe they were still alive.
I remember walking around the airplane and standing on the tarmac, looking back up at this airplane 30 feet off the ground, and this gaping, huge, humongous hole looked like the size of a building. You could have driven a bulldozer through the side of that hole.
After extensive investigation, it was determined that faulty electrical wiring had caused the plane's door to open in mid-flight, and the sudden decompression had ripped an entire section of the aircraft away, pulling several rows of passengers to their deaths. And yet somehow, the plane continued to fly.
The airplane was very unstable and was difficult to maintain heading. But by the grace of God, we were spared and brought back that night by a miracle.
The miracle of Flight 811 is it gave me my life back. It made me realize who and what is really important to me. It introduced me to a realm of angels. By that young voice telling me to tighten my seatbelt, I was in for the ride of my life. I knew at that moment I was never alone again. People talk about intuitive thoughts or a voice in their head. This was an actual voice with a body to it, only when I turned there was no body. It convinced me that if you're willing to listen, they're there to help.
You know, it's what I just made a note here of what's interesting. It says Sherry pleaded for a miracle. Of course, in the heat of the moment, you don't recognise the miracle, but the fact that she wasn't in the seat she was assigned to was in itself.
That's right. She went up to she went up to 13.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
She didn't notice that the miracle was already happening before she even called out.
Yeah.
You know,
kind of reminds me of the film Final Destination. You know, when it's your number, when your number's on the bullet, that's it.
That's right.
You know?
Yeah.
So
well, I don't want to take away from her story at all. You know, people died in that scenario. You know, but there was so many similarities there with what happened to me on my flight to Tokyo. I was sitting in my chair and I had a couple next to me. The window was to my left and there was a man and then his wife and then me. I was on an aisle. Then there was there was 4 seats, another aisle, then another 3.
Right.
So, because it was a big Boeing that I was on. And when we were coming into Tokyo, we were about an hour and a half out of Tokyo. I heard, like she said, it sounded like someone standing behind me, but I turned and there was no one there.
Right.
That's what I heard too. Right. But mine didn't say, get ready for your ride of your life. Mine actually said, buckle up. And when I've spoken about this in books that I've done, I say openly, she did not tell me to grab a parachute.
Right.
She told me to buckle up. So I got up and I thought, wow, I've got to go to the toilet. If I've got to buckle up, I've got to go to the toilet. So I went to the toilet, and as I was in the toilet, it was like someone standing in front of me yelling, buckle up! And I'm like shaking. So I went back to my seat, put on my seatbelt, and just as I pulled the tightness of it, the captain came over and said, please return to your seats. We're about to enter turbulent weather. We actually went into a Category 3 typhoon. We were going up 1,000 feet, dropping 600 feet. And then we'd drop 800 feet and go up 500 feet. Lightning hit the wing and both engines outside my window, because I could see outside past this couple. There was fire on the engine. It wasn't a good flight, you know.
No.
So we ended up crash landing on the tarmac. We had to use their slides to get off. Little airline hostess, I'll never forget her. So I might do a video about it, you know, because it is a psychic ability. I'll do a video on it on my Dr. Lynda Kramer on YouTube, just to tell you all about what happened with me that night. but very, very similar to what this girl heard. But the one line that I did write down, I was never alone again. Because when I had that plane crash, when I was hearing her saying, buckle up, I realised then that it doesn't matter where I am, what country I'm in, whether I'm 35,000 feet in the air or on the ground, she's always with me. I was never alone after that point either. And, it wasn't until about a year and a half later is when I died in North Carolina. So, it just shows me that she's always been with me. And then when I hear stories like this lady talking about with hers, that just is a confirmation that if we believe and if we are open enough to receive their messages, then they will help us. But obviously they know our life paths. They know what our destiny is supposed to be, because there's no time where they exist. They know our future because it's now. It's that knowing that we get as a psychic. So, she was destined not to be in that seat. So the miracle did happen even before she realized it was occurring. Goosebumps, Mike. Not just because of the similarities with the plane crash that I lived through. Nobody got, well, there were injuries on mine, but no one died on mine.
No.
But, that would have been extremely scary, knowing that you're that far up in the air with a big hole in the side of the plane.
I mean, the nearest I had to anything like that, it was on a BA flight, and we was coming into land in Vienna, and we hit the runway, and instead, that feeling where they put the brakes on and you all go boom like this in the seat. No, the engines roared again, and then we took off straight away. And the roar of the engines, because he had to make a really acute jump.
Yeah.
And he said, look, there's no problem. It's just that there was a plane on the end of the runway, and protocol says if the runway's not clear, as soon as we land, we've got to take off again.
Yeah.
So somebody would have got in a lot of trouble, air traffic control.
That's right.
But there was never any danger. If the plane had landed and there's a runway, a plane at the end of the runway, Vienna airport has got so much space, he could have diverted onto a grass verge and, there wasn't any danger.
Yeah.
But it was very concerning when you're getting ready to land and you hear the thrusters that roar up again and you make this steep flight. So the captain's going to be busy for the next few moments. There's no problem, blah, 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 blah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Who wants a cup of tea while we circle back to the runway again?
Yeah.
We're just banking, coming around to do another landing.
Yeah.
You got to laugh at it, Mike, and it's unfortunate we can only laugh at it in hindsight,
Of course,
because at the time it's bloody scary.
Yeah.
So anyone watching, I'll do a video on how did I survive a plane crash?
Right.
On
Okay.
YouTube, Dr. Lynda Kramer. Anyway,
Let's
all right,
move on.
so we've watched that one.
This is
we go.
the young fella Colton, his NDE, experiencing God in heaven. I mean, all I can say without the spoiler alert, out of the words of babes, children and beer, you speak the truth.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So
that's right, darling.
Let's have a run, and
let's
obviously
run with
everyone,
it.
let us know your thoughts.
When Colton was 3, he went on a trip with his father, who's a pastor, to celebrate the end of his time of testing, during which he got severely sick and had to go to the hospital. He was throwing up, in pain, dehydrated, and wasting away. He lost 5 or 6 pounds when he weighed only 33 pounds. His parents took him to a better hospital, where they confirmed his appendix had ruptured. Then, miraculously, he got better after a visit with the other side. To listen to the full, unedited interview, click the link in the description. This is Colton's near-death experience.
First, I remember the angels carrying me to heaven, and then I remember seeing Jesus. He had a rough, kind face, sea blue eyes that were really pretty, and a smile that helped light the heavens. So I tried to talk to my parents about Jesus loves the little children so much because, well, Jesus told me to tell my parents that. And finally, my parents say, okay, enough, we've heard it enough, because almost every second I get, I'd say, oh yeah, and Dad, Jesus really loves children. Oh yeah, and Mom, Jesus loves little children. I felt myself just lifting up, and then I could look down and see people. I saw my mom in one room talking on her cell phone and trying to get people to pray for me since I was in surgery. Then I could see my dad in a little room all by himself, just letting God have it. Well, I was just sitting by the Holy Spirit, and then a man walks up to me and he says, "Are you Todd's son?" I say, "Yes." He says, "Well, that's my grandson." So that's where I met Pop.
He talked about people in heaven. My granddad, when he can recognize a picture of my granddad taken in the 1940s, hey, how'd you get a picture of Pop? And he'd never seen it before, but knew that was Pop. He described the Trinity to me: God the Father, God the Son, the Holy Spirit.
If you're trying to get the throne room of God, because that's where they all were most of the time. So then God, he was the biggest person there is in heaven. And he would sit in the middle. And then Jesus would sit onto his right, man size, like, I'm not sure how tall, but somewhere around man size. And then the Holy Spirit, I forgot where he sat in the throne room, but he was sort of bluish and hard to see, but you knew he was there. And I saw Jesus, Pop, which is my great-grandfather, my older sister, who's already there. I saw Samson, King David, and John the Baptist, Michael, and Gabriel. Those are the ones that I remember. I just want them to know that heaven is for real and they're going to like it, because they're going to meet relatives and Jesus.
Thanks for watching today's video. Please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, as it helps us get more of these stories out in this format for more interested viewers. To watch this full unedited interview in its entirety, visit the link in the description. Let us know what you think of today's videos in the comments, and we'll see you on the next one.
So, I love it when kids tell a story, just they say what they feel. I made note, well, I was sitting by the Holy Spirit, like just as you do, a normal everyday thing.
I like the one where it says, he was like man size.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's interesting, of all the NDE stories we do, notice how different this child's NDE was. So, because his perception of life is so different to that of an adult. But there you are, I've said too much already. Lynda, what do you reckon?
No. You were just starting the good stuff then, Mike. I'll go there. I firmly believe that this is a child who goes to church regularly with his family.
Yeah.
Just by that glimpse of what we saw with the father, because this kid knew names. It wasn't like when he was in heaven, they came up and said, "Oh, my name is Jesus, this is what I've done."
Yeah.
He already knew all that.
Yeah.
So that's how he identified, I saw Jesus.
Yeah.
Because he's already learnt it in the scriptures, or at, whether he goes to Sunday school, church, or other religious gatherings, okay? So what I take from this, based on my own NDE and the thousands that I've studied over the years, we do create the reality that we do want when we go there.
Yeah.
If we want to see Jesus, we will. It's very rare that you'll see a Muslim see Jesus, okay? It's very rare that a Christian will see Muhammad, okay?
Yeah.
And that's true. That is extremely true. I've studied Indian and the Sikh, like Indian down near Pakistan, not the Native American Indians, because I've also studied their culture, but the Indians from India, as well as the Sikh religion. they speak that when they have NDEs, there's goddesses sitting there with 6 arms, 3 on either side, holding the bowls of gold with the gold, like what their culture represents. So, it is a perception of what our brain believes, which is our consciousness. We create the happiness of what we want to exist there. But then we can't eliminate the similarities, like I've mentioned so many times, like landing in the field of flowers.
Yeah.
People seeing Jesus, but they all see him in the same clothes.
Yeah.
There's all these similarities that we just cannot dispute to say, well, this is a fabrication of your own imagination of when you go there. So there is very high levels of evidence now that supports that this place that we end up at, which we call heaven, I call home, it not only does exist, but we do have that capacity when we're there to enter into what it has created.
Yeah.
So it's not just our fabric of our fabrication of our own imagination. So there is something there, but we just amplify it through our own consciousness, and that's what I get from this little boy, because, he had the honesty of a child. I'm sad that he had to go, as I do with everybody that's had an NDE. We don't want to get hurt. We don't want to get harmed or, dead, seriously. But at the end of the day, we have to go through this experience to understand and fathom the depths of the experience. You can't just jump and say, oh, I'm a gymnast.
No.
You've got to go the hard yards into the experience and have all that consequences, unfortunately, and that's why whenever there's children that have had NDEs, I always think, my God, imagine what the parents were going through at that time, and the child was sitting there, oh, yeah, I'm in heaven, I'm having the great time, and mum and dad are sitting in the waiting room, where's the doctor, where's the doctor, just separate from that. So, I always think about the perspective of other people whenever it's children, It would have been extremely scary for the parents at that time, especially, they would have been probably in the waiting room praying. Now that I know that, they were, because that's just the energy that I'm picking up from them. They're very religious people, so they would have been in the waiting room. Help him, Jesus, please help him. And, of course, Jesus did come. Wow.
I mean,
so there you go.
As a general rule, children, like animals, make that transition smoothly, without the fear, without the worry, the pain, because it hasn't been drummed into them yet that death is the end, and all the negative and the dark stuff that goes along with Western or Christian culture has taught us. So it's much easier for a child to just slide into the next world, and cool.
Right.
You're
going down the waterfall, yeah. But kids don't have regrets or grudges as well. So that's why one thing that I have alarmed myself with, researching a lot of children's NDEs, not too many of them go to hell because they don't have all that pain, misery, trauma, all from their grudges and regrets of all the things that they've done in their lives to other people, all that guilt. If you watch Lucifer on Netflix, starring Tom Ellis, he talks about the guilt that makes us go into the hell loop. So children don't have that guilt yet because they have never had the worldly experiences, because they're virtually getting just told what to do every day, whether it's their parents, their siblings, or their teachers at school. So, I do love children's NDEs. I've actually got a book out in my library. There's all these children's NDEs of what they saw. I'll pull it out so I can show you next week. Because it's a quite interesting book. It's a little compilation of all different stories from children. So, it is good that, most of them saw a religious figure. If they are religious, they don't hardly ever have hell experiences. and they come back feeling just so regenerated and eager. Eager is the word. Look how eager he was.
Yeah.
He's eager now to go out into his life, because he feels now that power of, oh my gosh, I'm going to be okay.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that his parents would have heard that story and just said, well, thank God he's okay now, because he's going to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Final.
Yeah. Oh.
Final one of the day.
Last one, mate. Sorry, Mike, before we go.
Yeah.
One thing, those blue orbs, that intrigued me too. Because the blue orbs that he was seeing when he saw the people as bluish colour.
Okay.
The bluish energy orbs. I saw that when I was still floating in the living room, so there's another connection there that shows that there's something more out there. Yeah. So there you go. All right, so we've got to get on because I just saw the time.
Yep.
Here comes the seance trumpet. Oh my God, I love this one, guys. Wait till you hear the energy of this guy.
Here we go.
Pity he's dead.
That's good for a trumpet, isn't it?
That's really, really good. Oh, wow. Yes. Yes. Yes, it is.
Oh, but it's really good.
Yes, it is. Oh, good. Well done. Hello. 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 Oh, that's so exciting. Coming through. Coming through. Yes, it is. Well done.
Coming through.
Coming through. Oh, that's so good, isn't it? You're doing very well. Exceptionally well. Mm. Hello. 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 Well done. Really good. It's amazing, isn't it?
Yes.
You've got it.
You've got it. Got it all right. Yeah.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes, it is.
Hello. Hello.
It's almost like he's so proud that he can actually hear himself through it. What a lovely man.
Yeah.
Wow.
And here's the thing, Lynda. There's no electronic equipment. And this, I think, is important because, there may be a time where they might try and cut electricity and so on and so forth. And, if you're using EVPs and spirit boxes and God knows what else, it may not be an option after a period of time. But the seance trumpet needs no power, only that of the human to help there. I want to say I've started doing work with the trumpet now. I don't know if this is my gift or not just yet. I think it is to a degree. And quite often I sit with the trumpet on my own, and that's what makes it hard. It needs a lot of people initially. And at least I see energy coming out of the trumpet now. So it might not be long before the trumpet starts to dance, and then we start hearing voice. If that happens, I'll let you all know.
Can I just ask some questions about your trumpet? What's it made of? Where did you get it? How much? Is there anything inside the trumpet, or is it just like a roll of...
Well, I made it myself. I got some hard cardboard, which I rolled into a cone, and you have to cut it so that it's, sits on the ground. Then I bought some what looks like glitter paper that's sticky to wrap it around so that you can actually see it in the dark. My belief is, actually, they say, actually an aluminium based one is probably better.
I was actually thinking if you put copper in it too.
Yeah.
Like the dowsing rods are copper, or brass.
I might buy one, but they're only about, I don't know, £50, £60, a tall one or a small one. I'd get the small one just to build the energy up. I might treat myself to one, but I do like the one I've made, and we put it in the circle and we put it by the table when we do table so that it's always building up energy, and we set the intention. You're free to move or say something if you wish to say something. But as yet, it's early days and we're just building up the energy. But as always, don't try this at home.
Well, that's the thing that I was getting to, the warnings. It's like Ouija boards, etc. If you don't know what you're doing, don't try it. Because you don't know what you're bringing through. Okay? So you've got to really know what you're doing, because once something comes through, it's a big job to get rid of it. Especially if you don't know you brought it in, how do you know how to get rid of it again? Because these intelligent entities, because they are highly intelligent, they know someone who doesn't know what they're doing. And they will come through and make your life living hell. So I don't want to scare people. Okay. Mike, before we go tonight, do you mind if I just mention what I said to you off air before we started?
Of course. Fire away.
Because it is time. Guys, we now live in a time where a lot of people are hurting. We live in a time now where there are people unnecessarily dying, whether it's through war zone, infection, disease, or others. Please be aware of everyone who you talk to. We don't know the battles, the traumas, the fear. We don't know what personal injuries or anything else that they've got. So please try not to judge people, because right now I've got about 4 people on my prayer list for tonight, and probably 2 of those won't make it through the night. We don't need to judge what this person's done in their lives. We don't need to know what they've done. All that we need to do is remember who they were, and the strength, the courage, the love, the laughter, the unity, the support that they offered during their lifetimes. So if you do wish to pray tonight for those who are ill, for those who are suffering, for those in hospital or struggling at home by themselves, please call in the archangels. Gabriel, Uriel, Raphael, Michael. Call them in and just say, if it's not their time, please allow them to get better. Because under free will, we all have
an end date. You can always ask the big man himself.
Go straight to God himself.
Yeah.
I would don't just rely on the archangels. And the power that we can generate from within ourselves. So you create it here in your heart chakra, and you just feel love, and you send it out. You imagine somebody like lying in hospital, and tonight the one that I do want to call out for is Colin. So for the person associated to Colin, please know that, yes, I've answered. I will be sending out love tonight for Colin, who is not in a good way, but please know that the love and support that I send is only a ripple of what others can do. So this week, guys, as we go into a new week, don't judge, don't accuse people. Instead of give them mercy, give them grace of God, give them compassion. Because most of these people, they did not harm or injure you. They did not cause you personally any grief. So don't retaliate of what the governments are doing. Because these people that I'm caring about tonight, they actually did not have this thing. And it is natural occurrences that they have. So don't judge. Just send out love to all these people, because there are a lot of people grieving all around the world. And, you know, it's through that grief that we can offer them that comfort and support of God. The angels coming down and filling our hearts with love and mercy of the eternity of our souls that can live forever. Okay?
Yeah.
So there you go, guys. That's just, I don't want to start crying. Okay?
A beautiful way to finish the show, Lynda.
Oh, darling, I do try, you know, but we don't have to be nasty, guys. You know,
No.
just, we don't know what people are going through. You know, we're on the brink of war. We're on the brink of breakouts again. More pandemics coming, and you know, don't live into the fear.
No.
Just love everybody, and just appreciate and offer that grace of God. If you don't know what grace of God means, look it up. What is the grace of God? It is showing mercy. It is showing compassion, love, loyalty, devotion, dedication and commitment, trust, and most of all, love to everybody. Okay?
Perfect. We'll see you all next week. Have a
Love
great
is all,
week.
guys.
Keep it high. Keep your vibe high. All is well. You are loved. See you next week. Bye-bye,
Bye.
everyone. Bye-bye.